What is up, guys? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time we're taking a look at the main character's deck, Rezael. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting us off with the starter, same as always. He's just, aesthetically nice. You can use whichever one you want. For your grade 1, you have when he's rode upon by the grade 2, Ascensior. You can call him out to the rear guard and soul charge 1. Then, when he's on the rear guard circle, if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Rezael in the name, he becomes a 10k body, or a 10k booster. Then for your grade 2, Ascensior, when he's rode upon by Rezael, you can check your drop zone for a grade 2 or less, and call it. You'll probably call out Sturgown, the best card to call out. Last but not least, we have Rezael himself. We'll take a look at his main skill first. When he attacks, you can counterblast 1. You can call up to 2 cards equal to the amount of cards you have in your damage zone. Check with your grades and see what you can call. They have to be different grades. You can't call 2 grade 1s, can't call 2 grade 2s if you're up 4 damage, but you can mix and match whatever you want. Of course, if you have 3 damage, you can call a grade 3 and a grade 0. You can call a grade 2 and a grade 0. You can, if you're at 3 damage, you can call a grade 2 and a grade 1, whichever one you prefer. Now for his divine skill, it's an act ability, Soul Blast 1. You take back all of your critical triggers from your drop, send them back to your deck, and for this turn, you have draft +1. And of course, the ability that if you were to check your last damage and it's any trigger but a heal, then it counts as a heal anyway. Now this works very well with an over trigger because that means you get to heal twice. Because over trigger removes and then it heals you per the stance of the effect. Now for upcoming cards that have the ability to remove certain skills, this does not stay removed permanently. So if you were to survive the turn where your skills are removed, at the end of that duration, it comes back. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you activate this ability, you are unable to write anything but Rezael. That's built in for protection. You could do some crazy shenanigans. Taking a look at our grade 3s, we are of course running 3 Persona Ride copies. You want to get better numbers. You want to cycle through your deck, of course. Make sure that your deck is nice and filtered. Having Persona Rides makes that easier. Makes your power columns even better. For our support grade 3s, we are running 2 copies of Sages because he's nice to filter out. Give you some soul for certain abilities. His secondary skill by removing the OT is also pretty handy. But his top deck check can help out in quite some certain situations. So we run him at 2. And of course, the Gigantic Masher, you can call him out with Rezael, making him 28k beater, which is nothing to scoff at. Our last grade 3 is 1 copy of Orbitol Surrogate to call out your Sages and your Gigantic Masher. Mainly it's to use it as a filter for, a recurring option top of everything. Could you run the ladder? Yes, but here in Europe, it's very hard to come by because there was a shortage of stock. So we got unlucky. No ladder for us. You could use any which Regardless piece. I like filtering out even more cards from my deck. You could use the Chalice. You can probably use the upcoming one from the Fescal, but that's still a ways off, so we'll wait for now. Next up for our grade 2s, we don't run a lot of energy, so why not use Biscotti? It's a very good card. You can even use it in your Persona Ride turns. Pretty much your main function, getting more draws out. You don't mind seeing critical triggers in your draws as well, so why wouldn't you want to optimize drawing even more, guarding with your critical triggers so you can send them back on your divine skill turn. So next up, 4 copies of Tatefall, generic package that everybody's dreading these days. So when she is placed other than by a unit's ability, you can Soul Blast 1. If you've played a normal order this turn, check the top 5 cards and superior call one of them that is equal or lower than the grade of your Vanguard. If you don't see any of the handy units that you want, if there's an order amongst them, you can also add that one to hand, after which you shuffle your deck. Then if she is attacking a grade 3 or greater unit, and you have plenty of other units on the field, she gains plus 10k, making her a phenomenal beater. Next up, we have 3 copies of Kadwala. This is mainly to make sure that if you happen to be in a retire matchup, you can call this one out. Soul Blast, retire itself, get some pieces to your hand, making it easier for you to survive or recuperate field. But it's not all that necessary. But for certain matchups, yes, Shiranui or Varga, It's rather that you have things to replenish your fielder advantage as much as possible. For our last slot, we are running 4 of the order. Counterblast isn't that much of a risk in this deck. We do have a counter charger as well. You want to just dig through your deck, mill out whatever pieces that you don't need to make sure that your deck is as stacked with triggers as much as possible, as fast as possible. So that's it for the grade 2s. The most famous, the most loved, the most amazing Sargon. Of course, this is a must-have 4 of in your deck. This is the one that allows you to filter through your deck as soon as possible. You want to recuperate him as much as possible with both your Excelsior or your Rezael to maximize your filter potential. Usually you'll have more of a field than your opponent will, and on the turns you play Norn, you didn't even have to worry about it. It's a 13k booster most of the time, so this card is amazing. And if you don't have your playset yet, definitely look for it. It is going to be crucial probably till the end of Vanguard at this point. It's just such a handy card. So I'm glad that I managed to get my 4 copies at this point. So this is Aerial Sage. He is your 13k booster for Rezael. And of course, when he's boosting Rezael, you have the option of discarding 1 to countercharge 1, giving it an additional plus 2k, making it a 15k booster, which is even better. But this only works when he's in back row center column. Keep that in mind. But this makes it possible for you to get even more value out on the field, or get rid of grade 3 pieces that you don't want to call out or don't want on you at the moment. But countercharging is its main purpose here. That power buff is also pretty handy because the rest of your Vanguard swing isn't all that grand, so yeah. Then of course we have our tech slot. It's Topaz to get you some more shield. Of course, it's not all too necessary if you also want to just aggro. The fact that you can remove 2 of your ride line pieces back to your ride deck to check the top 5 and call something is very handy. It's even more filtering depending on how you see your match develop. For our last slot, we are of course running 3 PGs and 1 Elementara Sanctitude. And now let's see what we have for the triggers. For our triggers, we are naturally running the Amartinoa. You do have a good incentive to run the blue OT in my opinion as well, but I just like running a very maxed out trigger lineup. So for now it's Amartinoa, meaning you could filter more if it were to come through, but you to you with the over triggers, it's pretty much up for debate. Yeah, I'm running 3 draw triggers. Now you can go through your deck quite fast, but I don't mind. For this deck, I want to filter through as much as possible, guard as much as possible. For the most part, you will have shield enough. With the upcoming support, you will have more than enough shield as well with the new combo. I don't know when Festival comes out, this deck is going to be quite a big threat, so I'm looking forward to it in the very least. It recycles crit triggers, so why would you not be running 8 crits? Last but not least, 4 heals, because that's a trigger. If you face a lot of Wellstras, be my guest and run 4 fronts instead. But that's it for the main deck. We're gonna take a quick look at a combo turn for the early turn. We went second. Our opponent attacked us once because they are probably setting up still. So we have our 1 CB. We're about to discard. Viscotti again. To run into Excelsior. Viscotti skill. We get a draw. This is shield. You want to use this as fast as possible. First of all, we are just going to move this. Soul Charge 1. So we don't lose out on anything. You could call it in the front row as well. But first of all, let's use our order for the turn to counterblast 1. Draw us 2 additional cards. And then we get to call out cards. This will be our Sargon, and of course Fatefall, meaning we have used this. This can go away. We're still at 7 cards in hand, which is quite well. We can Soul Blast out this card that we just added with Fatefall. Check the top 5. Would you look at that? We have this set up for next turn. Now that column's looking kind of weak, so we move this forward and call out a second Surgown. So our hand is looking quite well at the moment. And what did we do? We use one Counter Blast, one Soul Blast, just for all that. So what we can do is either we can swing with the first Vanguard column. I mean, why not? We'll start it off with a drive check. It's nothing. If this were a trigger, we could pump up our columns. This is currently a 21. You can check the top two, retire this. Let's have a look. Perfect guard. We like those. Then we have our Tatefall column. This is a 23. Retire it once again. Check two. Would you look at that? That is a 10k shield because your opponent will be on grade 3 next turn. So this way you can stay on low damage. You'll probably take at least one, but look at the pressure that you managed to take this turn. You'll probably even be able to intercept whichever one, meaning that you can climb up into Rezael. Imagine that we guard a little bit, we take the first swing. Oh, that's a shame. We end up guarding whichever you want. This is 30k shield, 40k shield in total. It's probably not feasible that they will have been able to get this, but you never know. So you stand and draw. Look at that. We don't need this one. We could have intercepted as well, but let's not for now. He's ridden upon, so we can call out our good little Dogo Surgown, and we're ready to go again. This time we can even extend thanks to Rezael's own skill. We could even countercharge, whatever piece we don't need, and we can lay on the pressure real good. Of course, as far as the game goes, you even get a heal, you never know. Probably it won't activate at this point because we have laid on quite some pressure already, but you never know. Yeah, you just start recycling your Surgowns, filtering through your deck, and once you've reached at least 4 to 5 critical triggers, you will activate this effect, the Divine skill, and really put the hurt on your opponent. Now that's it for the combo. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but it is very, very satisfying to see it in action. So I hope you might, try out this deck, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay radiant. Bye-bye.